Hello and welcome to Helping Other People Excel, or HOPE as I like to call it, Helping Other People Excel. And we're going to spend the next half hour with you, and I appreciate you joining me today and letting me come into your homes. We're going to get some inspiration here today, and I've got some good, nice little article from a book called Manifest Destiny by Stephen Palmer that's going to talk about entrepreneurs and the American dream and the American dreamers, because that's where, that's a manifestation of the hope that we have, the old American dream. So stay tuned for that here in a little bit. And in the meantime, I want to thank our host, WCET Television here in Hudsonville, Granville, Jenison, for producing our show and letting us record it on their fine digital equipment. Love the new digital backgrounds that we can have now, and modern technology is really good. So. And they got a new soundboard now. Maybe I'll even sound better, huh? If only I could look better. Anyway, appreciate you joining us here. And I also want to thank sponsors. I want to thank our sponsors, pampermenaturally.com. Nice little website for nice soaps and lotions and things that you can pamper your skin with. If your skin could talk, it would say, pamper me naturally. So you want to go to pampermenaturally.com and find the fine products that they carefully make in their home, small batches with lots of tender loving care, so that you can indeed pamper your skin. So and then also let them know when you order from them that you heard about them here on WCET and on the Hope Show, and I know that they'll appreciate hearing that and know that their advertising and sponsoring money has been going to good use. Also, Perry's Place in Cedar Springs, 90 North Main. They carry herbs and tea and more. Perry has issues with gluten-free and dairy-free, so in his store he carries a lot of things that can help those of us that have those issues, which I actually have a little problem with the gluten myself here lately, and so I appreciate going to his store and finding products that I can actually eat that taste good even. So, and then he has massage work there and so on. So contact Perry and stop in and see him. Let him know that you heard about him on our show as well. And I know that he'll appreciate that. And I know that you will appreciate the fine products that he has there. So Perry offers products to help your body. And Pamper Me Naturally, of course, has products to help your skin. And we here at Hope want to bring hope to your hearts, to help your spirit and your mind, and uplift you and encourage you, and to just help us all have some hope in our lives, see that light at the end of the tunnel, and know that there's hope ahead. We can do this. And so I know that this article that we're going to get from Manifest Destiny and Stephen Palmer, I know that that's going to be a big encouragement to a lot of you. It was to me when I read it, and so I'm eager to pass that on. So I think maybe without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. This comes from chapter 32 of Manifest Destiny. Again, there's the cover, and you can get this book and many other good books, all the other ones that I mentioned, CDs and audios and so on, from my website, and JB will be careful, put that on the screen for you there so that you can go there and maybe find these books and delve into them yourself and be blessed by all of the good encouragement and wisdom that comes in these books. But anyway, this is one I've been reading lately, and I really have enjoyed it. This is a tribute to the American dream, or dreamers. The American dream, though dimmed by bad laws and bad news, is still alive. I know this because Queen Karina and I discovered Shark Tank, an enthralling TV show for entrepreneurs and investors. Just on a little side note, Queen Karina is Stephen Palmer's wife. He refers to her as his queen, and I really like that, because that they should be our queen and we should be their king, and we should lift each other up and encourage each other and edify one another. And in doing so, we change our own view of each other and have that encouragement from those that we love. So anyway, Queen Karina and he discovered the Shark Tank, an enthralling TV show for entrepreneurs and investors. After watching the first season, I found myself overwhelmed to the point of tears with a deep respect and even reverence for the American dream and those who dare dream it. I honor you, the dreamers, risk takers, pioneers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and producers upon whose intrepid backs has been built the greatest country in the history of the world. Here's to you who live the measure of your creation to be a creator, who are driven by a glorious dissatisfaction, born of the fierce belief that anything can be done better, who are consumed by a holy yet irreverent curiosity, whose vision of possibility trumps your fear of failure. You scheme and plan, wonder and brainstorm, tinker and experiment, try and fail, learn and keep moving forward. You think far beyond a 9-to-5 existence. You are motivated by internal passion and purpose rather than the 401ks and benefits. You seize your own destiny. You are not shielded by committees or corporate coffers. You live and die by your own actions and decisions. Your only safety net is your tenacity and perseverance. You make no excuses, place no blame, ask no favors. You shoulder responsibility without hesitation. You have crossed your Rubicon resolutely and burned your ships courageously. You have risen from ashes and rubble to triumph against all odds. Your eyes lift to the heavens and gaze back at your North Star. Then your hands and back dig trenches on the ground. Your sleepless nights have led to brighter tomorrows for all of us. Your mortgaged homes and maxed out credit cards have made us all richer. Your stress and indigestion have made us all happier. When everyone called you crazy, you listened instead to the most sane voice on earth, your heart. When the facts were stacked against you, you trusted intuition. Like Don Quixote, you see giants where others only see windmills. You dream the impossible dream and reach for the unreachable star. Your back is quivering with thoughtless arrows fired by small-minded detractors. Your heart is heavy with the weight of portentous decisions, but your dream is bright and your resolve is unwavering. Yes, here's to you, American dreamer, for carrying the divine torch of the American dream. Here's to anyone who's ever had the guts to join a network marketing company, cold call, or pound the pavement in audacious pursuit of your dreams. The politicians and bureaucrats can try to stifle you. They can tax you. They can regulate you. They can sneer down their noses at you and call you greedy and selfish while living off the fruits of your labors. But they cannot break your spirit, nor can they ever beat you, because their laws and guns are no match for your ideas' might. Because you will always be one step ahead, because you understand and live according to natural law. Because you, unlike them, are not blinded by scarcity. Because you know we live in an abundant world bursting with infinite wealth and opportunity for all. Because you create wealth and opportunity while they suffocate it. Because you truly serve humanity while they smother human potential with excuses and crutches. So dream on, American dreamer, and keep the dream alive for us all. We desperately need your heart, your strength, and your light. For it is you who will pull our nation from despair and rebuild our city on the hill. You know, that was a great encouragement to me, a great inspiration. I'm an entrepreneur. I've gone through all those things. I certainly related to a lot of that. And I know that many of you probably have too. There's so much struggle out there, but yet that in itself is what helped make America great. And, we can have that back. We've kind of floundered and slid and fallen a little bit. But it's that tenacity that he talks about in there that we get back up. Many have said it's not how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. It's not about the mistakes you make. It's about learning from the mistakes you make and learning to do better and growing and moving forward in spite of the adversity, in spite of the arrows in your back from the small detractors, so I just want to be an encouragement to you. I'm going to set this off to the side for a minute so I don't have to keep holding it. But I really want to encourage you all because I know that many of you have been in that same spot. I certainly have. I've struggled trying to build businesses and, it seems like so few are there to encourage you and yet so many are there to criticize you. And That's really in itself why it's so important for us to edify one another and uplift people, and for us to praise the good that people have done and encourage them in what they do right, and then minimize the things they've done wrong, but maybe help pick them up and go, you know what, you tripped and fell over that stump, but next time it's there and we'll get around it next time. So you minimize the mistakes that they've made and you encourage them to move forward. It reminds me of watching a sports game, whether it's football or hockey or basketball, and you see those guys out there and they keep going and they make their shots, and or shots if it's hockey, or their touchdowns if it's football. And many of them make mistakes. They miss that football catch and they fumble it. They miss the shot that they made in basketball, but their teammates don't go around and go, oh, you screwed up. Why did you do that? They don't yell at them. They don't belittle them for what they did wrong. But no, they pat them on the back and go, you know what? It's all right, man. It's okay. We all make mistakes, and we'll do better the next time. And let's just go get them, and put that behind you. Because it's important to put it behind you. It's important for you to not dwell on those things. I'm reminded of a friend of mine who's been going through some struggles, and a relationship that's gone awry. And, in talking with him, I said to him, you can't take this personal. You've got to let it go, because it isn't about you. You're still the same great person. You're still the same great guy that you've always been. And just because this person doesn't want to walk down life's path with you anymore doesn't mean that it's your fault. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not a good person or a good man. Everybody has their preferences. Some people like red, and some people like blue, and some people like orange and green. And if you happen to be green and somebody doesn't like you, it's okay. It's not about you, it's about them. They just don't have a preference for green. If somebody decides that they no longer want to walk with you in life's path, it's okay. But don't take that on yourself, and don't beat yourself up about it, because that negativity is what will tear you down and what will help destroy you if you allow yourself to listen and dwell on that. It's been said that what others tell you, you only hear once. But it's what you tell yourself that you hear over and over every day. It gets repeated in your mind. It gets you thinking. And, when you think good thoughts and you dwell on good things, as we talked about before, whatsoever things that are pure and of good report and uplifting and motivating, think on these things, the Bible says. Maybe not in those exact words, but that's 1 James 14:25. Since I'm James. Anyway, but if you dwell on the negative, and if you dwell on, what did I do wrong in this relationship? Where did I go wrong? What didn't I do right? If you take and analyze it for a moment so that you can figure out what you did wrong and how to fix it, that's okay. But when you continue to dwell on it and say, you know what, I'm just such a loser. I can't believe that I screwed that relationship up, and now they don't want to be with me anymore because I was grouchy, or because I was inconsiderate, or whatever you want to tell yourself, When you whip yourself all the time, then you kind of get lower and lower and lower and lower until you are no longer in your own mind of any value. And when you don't see yourself with value, then indeed you don't act as though you have value, and consequently you begin to further decline in your walk through life. And so I really want to make a point of that and encourage you to, yes, look at what you've done wrong, look at the mistakes you've made for a moment, long enough that you can figure out what you did, because it's really important that we learn from our mistakes. But then let it go. Put it over your shoulder, toss it back there, and don't look back. Because what's back there isn't worth seeing. And if you constantly are looking back, then you're not watching where you're going. And you'll fall again, you'll trip again because you're not seeing. There's nothing back there for you. You couldn't go back there and change it if you wanted to. There's no way to know what might have been. It reminds me of a song I really enjoy from One Flew South called What Might Have Been, and there's no way. There's no way for you to know. If I would have took that path in the road, my life would have been different. Oh, absolutely. There's not a doubt about that. But how would it have been different? Would it have been good different or not so good different? We have no way to know because we didn't take that route. And you can't back up and go and take that route because that route you've already passed now. And if you go back now, it's going to be different. And honestly, I don't know that you can go back. I think that, oftentimes we choose the route we're supposed to choose. I told my friend, I said, there is no right or wrong here. There might be a good way and maybe a better way to have gone. But right or wrong, it's what you make of it. It's not right or wrong. It's what it is. You made a choice. And that choice now is up to you to make the best of it, to do the best you can. And when we do that, I know you've all heard the little saying that when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. And you might be tempted at first to say, well, life threw me a curve. I got lemons. What am I going to do with lemons? It's no good. But the optimist looks at that and says, all right, so I got a dozen lemons. What can I do with those to make my life better? How can I improve? So he makes up a bunch of lemonade, puts a little sugar in it to sweeten it, and now he's got a lemonade stand. He's going to sell that, and he's going to be an entrepreneur. He's going to be a businessman. He's going to be successful. That's where it all starts. It all starts right here. And I know that we've talked about this a lot, and the reason I talk about it a lot is because it's very important. Your hope starts right here. Changing the way you think. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And that was one amazing epiphany that I got in my life not long ago, because I had a kind of depressed, poor me outlook on life at one point. While on the outside, I still carried on the facade of everything's fine and I've got this business and I'm running and we're successful and we're doing things because nobody wants to buy from a business that's failing. Not that I was failing, but, it was a struggle all the time. I was on that hamster wheel. I was constantly running and just seemed like I could never quite get that next little inch, that next little ahead. Everything seemed to always be, the current seemed to be flowing in my face, and I could just never quite get ahead. Every time I'd get a little burst in there, something would come along and knock me back a little bit, and I realized that after somebody pointed it out to me, I realized that it was my own stinking thinking that was causing that problem, and that if I could conquer that stinking thinking, if I could change the way I looked at things, then the things I looked at would change. And when I heard that, it clicked in my head and I went, wow, that's really amazing. That makes sense to me. And, I wish I would have known that stuff years ago, because my entrepreneurial spirit might have gotten a lot further had I have been aware of that, But so oftentimes it's what we tell ourselves that really drags us in the mud. And, sometimes somebody makes a snide comment, or maybe it wasn't intended to be snide, but we took it to be that they were saying we weren't good, or we weren't successful, or we weren't effective, or whatever. And then we dwell on that, and we focus on that, and we say, well, what did he mean by that? Why did he say that? I'm not that way. But then we focus on it, and we dwell on it, and, well, maybe I am that way. What did I do? You know what? I think you're right. I think I might be that way. He's probably correct. I am no good. I did make mistakes. I can't seem to ever get things right. And we start whipping ourselves and we start beating ourselves. And that gets us nowhere. That just really holds us back and keeps us from being successful. it's so important that we dwell on positivity and positive things. And, you know, sadly, our world is full of negative. We've got, every time we turn around, somebody's willing to tell us what we've done wrong. I was driving down the road the other day, and I wasn't paying as close of attention as I could, and I swerved into another lane a little bit, not a lot. I wasn't changing lanes. I just kind of wandered over into that left lane. Well, there's a car going by me, and you know, she honked her horn, which I almost didn't hear. These little horns on these cars these days, they sound more like a child's bicycle horn or something. But anyway, she went by and just started chewing on me, you know, why you know, and I thought, you know what, lady, I'll bet you there's been lots of times when you reached down to turn the channel on the radio and wandered over into somebody else's lane, or, you know, maybe you were checking to see if there was something on your face, or, you know, your makeup looked good, you're on your way to an appointment, or you're adjusting your mirror and you wandered over. We all have done that. But boy, she was quick to tell me that I was, you know, a no good so-and-so. That I shouldn't be, you know, I should pay attention and whatever, you know. And I just kind of smiled and waved at her, and, you know, I went on. But I thought about that, and I thought, you know, it's really something that we are so quick to criticize and to judge when we've all done that very same thing. And, you know, if she'd have thought about it for a moment, she probably could have thought of a few occasions when that happened to her. And she probably would have been unhappy had somebody treated her the way she was treating me. But I kept a positive attitude about it, and I shrugged it off because I understood that, you know, we all make mistakes, and I'm going to try and be a little more careful, not wander into that lane. But, you know, I'm also going to try and not be that lady. I'm going to try, and the next time somebody wanders into my lane, I'm going to go, you know what? I've done that before. I'm going to give them some grace, and I'll move over, maybe tap my horn a little just to get their attention. And, you know, when I go by them, instead of chew them out, I'm going to smile and wave and say, you know, have a nice day. Because I've done that too, and it's okay. And, you know, it's so important. That gets back to uplifting one another and edifying one another and patting your teammates on the back when they make a mistake and say, it's all right, man, come on, let's rally together and let's win this game anyway. We all make mistakes. And so, you know, a little wave and a smile as you go by somebody that's made a mistake, maybe that's that little pat on the back of saying, it's okay, man. I've been there too. I've done it. It's all right. You didn't do anything bad, and it's all right. It's that edification, that uplifting, that encouragement. And we need to do that to each other all the time, because that rising tide raises all ships. And if we'll be encouraging to someone else, they'll think that way next time that they have somebody that does something to them and maybe bumps into them with a shopping cart in the grocery store or something like that. I know we've all had that happen, and sometimes that hurts. But you know what? It's okay. It's all right. I've done that before myself. You know, and so uplift each other, encourage each other, try and cut down on those minimum words, those negative words that we tell to other people, but then also be very careful to always tell your mind good things about yourself. I remember a guy saying, you know, you can't tell yourself you're broke. If you say I'm broke, you're putting that negative thought in your head of I'm broke, man. I can turn my pockets inside out and only find lint. But instead you say, you know what, I'm suffering a little temporary cash flow problem, but it's no problem. I'm going to have it fixed here soon. And you be positive about it. Put that positive spin on it. And now instead of telling yourself you're broke and you're no good and you're, you know, can't get anything done, you're always broke, you're never going to be a winner, you're saying, you know what, it's a temporary cash flow problem and I'm in the process of fixing that. So it's going to be okay. It's all about reframing things and, you know, how we look at things. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so changing our perspective and changing our outlook, our responses to be positive. We're surrounded by negativity. We watch it on the television and we watch it everywhere, and the lawsuits and the people that advertise to help you with your lawsuits. You know, all of these things. Well, you have a right, you know, you've been damaged and, you know, let us fight for you and all of that. You know, it's all just negativity when we should be giving grace. We should be saying, you know what, we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes too. It's okay. And when we have that positive attitude, we don't carry that burden of bitterness and resentment and anger anymore. It seems to be just lifted off our shoulders. And when that happens, you can stand up straighter and you can smile during the day and you can do so much better. I'm reminded of a gal that I know that's going the other direction, and I look at her and I'm so saddened because I know that she's struggling. I know that she's having a hard time because hurting people hurt people. And that indeed is what she's doing. She's running around and she's hurting people. And she never has a nice thing to say to anybody. She's always yelling and chewing on people, and she's angry, and she snaps at her husband, and she snaps at her children. And, you know, I look at that and I go, man, if she only knew that she's not helping herself when she does that. Because what you send out in life is what comes back to you. And she sends out anger and bitterness and resentment, and what comes back? Everybody's defensive and, well, I didn't do it, and and so she winds up getting more grief in her life because of the angry way that she answers and responds. The Bible says a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. What seeds are you planting today? Are you planting good seeds? Are you planting happy seeds? Or are you planting those angry and bitter seeds that are going to produce bitter fruit for you later on? You know, our job here at Hope is to encourage other people, to help other people excel, to uplift and encourage and help you. And, you know, for those of you, we started out in our show today talking about entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial spirit and how that's lifted our country and how that made our country great at one time. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to that by being encouraging to one another. We need to get back to that by patting people on the back and going, you know what? That was a good idea. Let's think about that some more and see how we can make that even a better idea. That's that entrepreneurial spirit. I think I can. I know I can. We can do this thing. We can do this together. As a team, together everyone achieves more. So let's all work together to achieve more and to accomplish this and to lift us up by our own bootstraps if necessary, because that's what we need in our world today. We need that uplifting. We need that encouragement. We need that grace to other people of forgiveness and of saying, you know, it's okay, I make those mistakes too. And I'm not angry with you for making them. It's okay. It cuts down on that defensiveness. And, well, everybody gets that. We all get that. I get that defensiveness too when somebody comes at me and starts snapping at me. But when we love each other, when we encourage each other, and we pat each other on the back, even if it's a stranger that we don't know. I was jogging at the club the other day, and a gal was out there running, and she was struggling along to run. She'd had an injury or something and had a cane, you know, and as I ran by her, I said, boy, you're doing a good job there. Keep it up, you know, and I just gave her that little bit of encouragement. I don't know who she was. She was a stranger to me. But you know what? She felt good because somebody recognized that she was doing a good job, that she was putting in all her effort. So I want to encourage you. Be an encourager this week. Be an uplifter this week to everyone you meet. Look for opportunities to do that, and it will come back to you 100-fold. And you'll find that your life is indeed lighter and brighter. Your load is lighter and not as heavy. If you've learned something good from our show today, and I certainly hope you have, drop me a line at jim.pate@gmail.com or give me a call at 616-799-0517 and let me know that we were an inspiration to you and uplifting to you. That will encourage us and let us know that we're making some progress there. It's always good to hear from people and hear their progress. And once again, if you visit our sponsors, be sure to tell them that you heard about them on Hope, helping other people excel. I wish for you a great week of encouragement and uplifting. God bless you.